Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the East End Fable.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have No Sleep for the Innocent. That's right, we're back.
Grow on trees.
God damn.
Oh, sorry, that's different.
Yeah. But yeah, that's right. We're going back to the WontThinkStraight saga on Reddit No Sleep. Because this is the next installment of that series of stories as WTS comes to realize that he didn't believe in supernatural shit until he come face to face with one. And now he's trying to share that with the world. Is WTS just Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he never thought his life was had any paranormal. He was always able to be a skeptic about it, and then he came face to face with it, and now he's grappling with the fact that he lives in a paranormal world.
That is actually TLDR for this series.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
yeah.
And
you
it's also
play the intro to Ghost Adventures.
Oh god, so it's just gonna be like creepy, like eerie, like piano and violin tune strings.
That being said, I haven't seen Ghost Adventures, or I've only seen clips of it. I'm sure this series of creepypastas is more believable than that show.
Honestly, and especially as he's gone further on and made more money off of it, yes, because now he straight up just has a museum in Las Vegas with all these haunted artifacts. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's not the story.
It's really not.
But yeah, we are covering No Sleep for the Innocent. It's by WontThinkStraight on Reddit No Sleep. Go check it out there along with all the other WontThinkStraight stories. And otherwise, we will press on and give our initial recommendations and then the rest of the show. So for my initial recommendation, I'm not going to recommend this one.
I'm partially recommending this one.
Well, fuck you guys. I'm going to recommend this one.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to be angry about it the whole time now.
maybe you can just. Wow, what are you, me?
Yeah, I am apparently.
when your other co-hosts are antithesis to you.
Yeah.
What is this, Mario? All right, but yeah, let's see how why we gave those initial recommendations and see if those things change over time. Starting with the rundown. So this account's interviewee of WTS and Steve has caught WTS's attention for its simplicity, but also its creepiness as it hits close to home. David is a widowed father of 2 sons, and he was basically burning himself out on 2 jobs to make ends meet, and barely sees his kids anyway. His oldest son, Joel, was an angsty 17-year-old that made poor choices, and his 9-year-old son, Adam, was acting very strange. Adam had always been a quiet kid, especially since his mother died. But recently, he'd been getting bruises, stealing and fighting kids at school, and apparently losing his lunch money.
Stealing the kids as well. Stealing and fighting kids. He steals them. He kidnaps them.
Sorry, stealing money off of and fighting kids at school.
Oh, okay. That's very different. That's a completely different creepypasta.
That 9-year-old just got into human trafficking to make it. Oh god, that's so dark, but also kind of funny.
Yeah, kind of. In a horrible, horrible way.
Yeah, just oh my god, that's
just
a
the
little
absurdity
fear.
Of it.
That is straight up a Little Fears scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. But yeah, so he's acting up at school and stuff like that, and apparently not he's not eating at school, even though David keeps giving him lunch money in the morning. And all the while he's trying to convince his dad to stay home from work at night. because as it is, David, on top of working a really shitty night job at a grocery store, he's also working the night shift, like security and stuff like that, which he's actually very good at and likes. When things get really bad, like school calls and child services comes knocking, Adam eventually reveals to his dad that he's been saving the lunch money up so his dad could stay home one night. Overwhelmed by guilt, David calls in sick and stays home with his son Adam. Though his son wants him to merely watch over him while he sleeps. In quotes, in case the skeleton man shows up. End quote. Despite this very odd and creepy explanation as to why Adam wants David to be with him one of these nights, David watches over his son, remembering the early days of fatherhood when he did this. Morning comes, and as David is assuring his son that nothing came in the night to take him or anything like that, a creepy skeletal figure crawls out from the ceiling and whispers a warning and farewell to them. For now. After this, David continued to work his night shift jobs because it's the only way to be awake if and when the skeleton man returns. Finn. So yeah, that was No Sleep for the Innocent. And I suppose we'll now move on to Everyone Tolerates the Grand Inquisitions! At this point. I've got a couple here. His wife Laura had died from cancer 4 years ago, and he juggling between making ends meet while raising his two sons on his own. So I feel like this actually needs to have a word in there. So it's like, and he was juggling between making ends meet and while raising his two sons on his own.
Yes.
And the next one. Oh, what?
Yeah, or he juggled between two jobs.
Yeah, that's also another one. Yeah, and he juggled between. Yeah, that could also work.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the next one I have, seesawing between sullen withdrawal or straight out bursts of teenage angst. He was often as much a hindrance as a help to the household. So first thing I noticed was that hindrance is actually spelled wrong. There's an E in the sentence in the story. There's an E in hindrance, and that E actually doesn't need to be in there. And I did look it up online to check to make sure like it wasn't like a localization or anything like that. As far as I can tell, there is not supposed to be an E in hindrance. And the other thing I just noticed is that I feel like maybe it should have so between sullen withdrawal or straight up outbursts of teenage angst. Because when I read that, I keep kind of tripping over straight outbursts.
Oh, because you're trying to say straight out.
Yeah.
Straight out. Well,
and like straight out bursts of. I know it technically does work, but I keep tripping over it. So just like maybe add straight up outbursts of teenage angst, or
no, it's straight dash out. Wait, is outburst?
No, it's straight and then outbursts actually needs to be one word then, maybe. Because outburst.
Yes, outburst just one word. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then outburst needs to be one word, whereas in the story it's two words, because I keep tripping over that line.
So this would actually you wouldn't trip as much if it was straight dash out. Or no.
No, it was straight out dash burst. Yeah. Or,
no dash. Just connect the outburst.
Okay. Yeah, then yes. Yeah.
Confusing.
I know.
I hate the English language.
Or exactly. Like that would work. Yeah, it would work if that was just those two words were combined.
Yes, for sure. It wouldn't hurt it for sure.
Yeah. And then my next one here, burdened with his larger debts, he now his other nights stacking shelves at a local grocery store. So I feel like it should be he now spent his other nights stacking shelves at a local grocery store.
How did I not see that?
There's a couple of them in the story where I was like, man, there's just like caveman speech here going on. My next one here. He didn't enjoy it, but it was money, and there aren't many choices of jobs for when he was awake. So first thing, he didn't enjoy it, but it was money, period. And there aren't many choices of jobs for when he was awake. That's two sentences. I feel like those could be combined into one full sentence, and that way we get rid of the front and also it would read much better. I feel, and also remove the aren't with weren't, like, and there weren't many choices of jobs for when he was awake.
Tense.
Technically aren't isn't a bad one because like it might be referring to like there aren't many jobs out there for like his like sleep schedule kind of thing, but I feel like it should still remain in past tense, which there weren't. Yeah. Just a tiny tense talk in there. And then my next one here, he was stuck in vicious cycle of financial slavery that brought him guilt, stress, and anxiety. I think it needs to be, he was stuck in a vicious cycle of financial slavery. And then my last one here, my second last one here. So the next one I have is, when they got home, David sat Adam down and simply said, "Adam, I'm very disappointed in you. I know I haven't been a good father and been around for you as much as I'd like to, but I'm trying." And then it has a space, and then it goes on to, "God knows that I try to do good by you." And then another space, another line. "I would have expected this kind of behavior from Joel, but not you. What's he asking you to do while I'm not around? Did he make you do this?" And then end quotes. I feel like these breaks in the dialogue need to either just be combined into a full like dialogue bit here, like into like a full paragraph of dialogue, or it has to have kind of have that leading quotation when it goes to another line that separates the line from the one above it, and wait until the last bit of the dialogue to add the end quotation. Sort of like how we've seen in other stories where like the person's talking and then it cuts to another paragraph because it's going on too long, and it's still dialogue, but it just adds that like extra quotation at the beginning and then keeps going and doesn't have the end quotation until all the dialogue is finished.
Yeah, I did feel like that section was a little odd because like it's jumping down lines, but it's not switching people talking.
Yeah, because like for a minute there, I almost thought that like God knows I try to do good by you was like maybe like a thought bubble or like a thought sentence, but but then I keep reading. It's like, oh no, it's actually still part of the dialogue. Why is this separated? Like,
yeah, because he's also saying this like immediately. Nothing happens in between, so there's nothing saying that you can't just keep it all in one paragraph.
Yeah, exactly. So like I feel like it should either be combined, or if you're gonna separate it for like, again, maybe like a poignantness, like God knows I've tried to be good by you, like then like that needs to have like that special quotation situation, or just combine it all together. But then my last one I have is,
before you do that, or like if you do want to separate that for emphasis, like you said, make a reason to separate it, like have him do something, like have him like sit down, put his head in his hands, and be like, God knows I tried, like do something to describe more of what's going on.
Yeah, like exactly, like describe, give a description. If you're gonna break it like this, like have a description to describe like why he's pausing. But yeah. And then my last one for Grammar Inquisition is, but what 9-year-olds don't have overactive imaginations about the dark. So I feel like the should actually be a then. So it's, but then again, what 9-year-olds, blah, 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 blah. And that is the end of my Grammar Inquisition. So Mikey, the E stands for evil.
I have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
It's a very simple story, but for me, also the creepiest. it hits far too close to home. It was this initial bias that almost made us pass over his story without digging further. But it was hard to find the time to be the fatherly role figure he wanted and needed to be. It was the only job he'd known, and he was good at it. And there aren't many choices of jobs for when he was awake. It had all started a year ago when David came home from a shift only to find Adam holding back tears at the breakfast table. It's okay, but there are bills piling up, and someone needs to put food on the table for you growing boys. It was with weariness and concern when David was again interrupted in his sleep by the phone. It was from the principal's office, and they wanted to see him immediately, because it was his turn to burst into tears as he pulled Adam in close for a tight hug. It was an exceedingly odd request, and completely frightening. But again, what 9-year-olds don't have overactive imaginations about the dark? It brought back, unbidden, a whirl of memories. The first night Laura and Adam came back from the hospital, the lullabies David would sing to make Adam sleep, how he watched Laura tuck the boys in every night. But more than anything, he missed talking to her. But it's also because there's no such things as monsters under your bed or skeletons in your ceiling. It's the only way he can be sure he's awake for if and when it returns. Finn.
What was it? It's like Pennywise, just like it's yeah. Wow, that was almost felt like a completely mundane synopsis of the story. Like you removed all of the actual like supernatural element to it because of the way the sentences worked. And it like when he like went to the principal's office and he started crying because of like again like maybe he's like this is the last straw, you're gonna lose your kids kind of thing. And I was like, it was getting really dark, really realistically dark and mundane.
Yeah.
And that's why he's staying like he's working his night shift is because like if and when child services returns.
Wow. So dark.
So dark. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole start of that, because we didn't get like proper context when he's talking about like how like him and WTS and Steve were like talking to this guy.
Yeah.
About the story, but it sounded like fuck. It was so long ago I forgot. Basically the start of it sounded like it wasn't David telling the story, it was the interviewers telling the story, because we didn't have proper context until it said like that he returned like from work and stuff like that. So it sounded like they were setting up their schedule and stuff to talk to David about his like encounter like around his time schedule and stuff, instead of it being about him trying to talk to his kid and stuff.
Yeah.
God, I worded that horribly, but I gotta start taking notes.
Weird. Yeah. But yeah, no, we got there.
Yeah. And the reason that like he grabs all the sentences that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like it's, ands, or buts, is because there's always better words to use. And sometimes when you put them all together in a story, they show up with odd or sometimes hilarious results. Or dark ones in your case, Colton.
It's super dark. Well, there's a running theme
It's
in my
real dark.
I've got some notes about that in the story in my notes, but
I have notes in my notes too.
I mean in my actual thoughts.
They're the same thing.
I know, but I have specific notes about that.
Oh, I see.
Yes. All right. Now that we've done being pedantic, gamer, what do you have for Grammar Inquisition?
Oh yeah, I forgot it's my turn now. Hang on, let me reread this.
Let me read this whole story.
Yeah, I should probably read the story before I say anything on it. No. So Adam didn't want to talk about it. So about what was happening to him. So David sent him off to school and all that, right? And then it says that evening when his sons returned, David wanted to continue his chat with Adam. Then it goes into quotes. Please stay home tonight, Dad. Don't go to work, please. Because of how that was all worded, the way I initially viewed it was he sent the kids off to school, thinking about how when they get back, he wanted to talk to Adam. But then it cuts immediately into dialogue, which made me assume that okay, is he thinking about what Adam might say to him? Is this the issue? Is that the issue? He's rehearsing what to say. But then I realized no, this was actually a scene shift.
Yeah.
But it was so sudden that I didn't notice it. I kind of saw him waving as his kids left for school as he's thinking about what to talk about. But no, that's not what happened.
No.
So the way that I would fix it to make it a little bit more clear says that evening when his sons returned, David continued his chat with Adam. Because when you say continued, it's he's doing that now.
Yeah.
Compared to saying he wanted to continue. Because if you're saying you're wanting to continue it, sure, you want, but that could mean
it's
you
nice
want to continue it now. Yeah,
yeah.
But that could mean you want to continue it now or you want to continue it in the future.
Yeah.
But if you are in the act of continuing, you are continuing now. Even though that is making it, well, it's not current tense because it's continued.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It's showing that time has passed, and then the scene is shifted.
Yes, for sure.
No, I get what you're saying.
But that's all I got left for grammar.
All right. Well, then on to actual thoughts. I'm going to start here with the title, which is "No Sleep for the Innocent." And by the end of the story, I was like, "Ha! I get it now." Because it's on Reddit, no sleep, but also it's no sleep for the innocent because the child is an innocent who's getting no sleep because of the skeleton man thing. I understand now. Moving on.
Oh. I get it.
No, I get even from the get go. I thought no sleep for the innocent was clever because again, it's a Reddit no sleep story.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's nice when you can wrap in the actual name of the website into it.
Yeah, but also by the end of the story, you're like, oh, that's also that also works because it also ties into the actual story itself, being that the kid can't get to sleep because he's being bothered by this skeleton man.
Yes.
But yeah, moving on to the next thing I have here. I read this sentence far too slowly, and so I got a he shot him, bang, with a glance. Oh, sorry. I had one of those moments with this next one. So Joel was in his own. Sorry.
So laughing about the shot him a glance situation.
Okay. Joel was in his own world, headbanging with his headphones plugged in. Obviously eating his cereal. Okay, so the way I read that too slowly was Joel was in his own world, headbanging against the table. Or something, and then with his headphones on. Okay, he's headbanging to metal or something like that.
Yeah,
not headbanging against the table It's son, are you okay? With blood splittering and he's his skull starting to crack.
Jeez. But also, you're right. I had a half thought of that, but I didn't commit to it like you did.
Yeah.
Also, I think headbanging is one word.
Yeah, headbanging. I think the fact that head and banging are two words in this is why I read it too slowly.
Yeah, you're actually right.
I think if it had been like the action of headbanging, as in like metal horns headbanging, like whoa, like I think that would have been far more efficient. But I digress. I'll move on to the next thing I have. Please stay at home tonight, Dad. Don't go to work, please. Why, champ? Is something wrong? Is Joel hurting you? I know Joel is being like an angsty teen shithead, but is that really your go-to inquiry? Like, is that your first suspect? Like right off the hop?
I mean, he's bruised up, and like when he like lightly questioned him about it, he's basically said like, "Wasn't me."
Yeah, he rolled his eyes and shrugged. Yeah.
Yeah, like he didn't care.
Yeah, I know. It just feels like maybe it's when I was reading the story. Like it just feels like you were really quick to judge Joel.
When your child is injured, everyone becomes guilty until proven innocent, I think.
Well, yes, but then like David is not winning any points for fatherhood, in my opinion. For, like,
hell no.
And we'll get to that in the next thing I have.
Yeah.
So this is when David has to go to the principal's office and finds out that Adam's been like fighting and stuff like that. So David apologized profusely and made Adam do the same. David wondered where he'd gone wrong as a parent. I don't know. Maybe don't put off inquiring about your son's bruises for weeks at a time, and just sleeping it off, or like try and coax whatever's happening out of your son a little bit more immediately. Like, I get it. You're dead tired from your constant job, like constant work shifts. But I really feel that David could have been doing more to help his son here instead of keep putting it off. It's like, oh, it'll go away eventually. I'm just so tired. Like I get it. Like that is a thing. Like when you're like working those shifts and you're just emotionally and like physically and mentally drained. But like the story keeps like just putting it off until like weeks go by and like something else bad happens, and then we're not going to address it. Weeks go by and something else happens, and we're not going to address it. Weeks go by and something really bad has happened, and now we have to address it. It just felt like David should have been doing a lot more immediately than just putting it off.
I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, like again, he's not winning any dad points to me.
No, not at all. But man,
and even at the very
he's
end,
been dealt a hell of a card.
Yeah, even at the very end, which I'll get to in my notes, where like he's confronted with Skeleman, and after those events, David still chooses to go to work the night shift. I was like, why? It's like, fuck. Anyways, I'll move on.
Just hang on 1 minute, because like I think you're viewing the end wrong, or I viewed the end.
I had to reread it.
Hang on.
Okay. Okay.
A few hours later.
Oh, I think it's basically okay. It's saying he still chooses to work the night shift. It's the only way he can be sure he's awake for if and when it returns. So the end of it is straight up saying like he's still doing the night shift, aka sitting by his son's bed every single night to protect him.
Okay, that needs to be... Yes, if that's the case, that needs to fucking be elaborated on, because the way I keep reading it is that he's still working the night shift at his job.
No.
Yeah, if he's Dave still, or like if David still chooses to work the night shift, work from home, or
he's not getting paid. It's the only way he can be sure to be awake for when it returns.
Or like, if again, like the way it's for me, the way it's written, we're just gonna dive into this part because it's fucking annoying. David still chooses to work the night shift. Period. It's the only way he can be sure he's awake for it, for if and when it returns. Okay, to me that just means that he's again putting it off again and working his work shift. So that would need to change if it's supposed to mean the other way that like we're trying to get across, where it's David still chooses to work the night shift, comma, in his in Adam's bedroom, or like find a way to like incorporate that, like he's not working. Like if you want to have that choice, like he still chooses to work the night shift, but like played off as like it's a night shift, but it's for his family.
That's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what it says. It's just not saying it loudly.
Yeah, and I'm not reading it that way at all.
Metaphorical.
That one. This is a metaphorical one where it needs to be a little bit more like not reading between the lines, reading on the lines.
I don't know, man. I'm a fucking idiot. I got it.
Well, I apparently didn't. So if I didn't get it, I don't think.
Oh, thanks.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I can insult me. You can't insult me.
But yeah, I think there should be like a little bit extra added just to clarify that like that twist is like, yeah, he's still working the night shift at home with his son.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like a little bit of extra clarity would be nice for sure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt it.
Yeah, I guess I'll go into the rest of the thing for this week because like I literally was left at the end. I was like, what, really? I feel like this is there are better courses of action after having a brush with supernatural threat like this. Like getting your kids out of that place. I mean, like financially and economically, I knew he couldn't probably because like he's chosen a better place to live, but also that's more expensive.
Actually, you bring up a good point though.
Yeah,
he's working his ass off. Oh, actually, you know what?
Yeah, this is
okay. He just reading between the lines, which I apparently am loving doing all of a sudden. Loving to do for this specifically. I have no idea. But like reading between the lines, okay, he's still choosing to work the night shift, aka watching over his son.
Yeah.
Because he is not working security night shift, he isn't doing that job anymore.
Yeah.
Because he isn't doing multiple jobs, he can't afford to live in that nicer place. So they probably moved to a crappier place. And he's still sitting there to protect him. Yes.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with all you've said. But it needs to be put in the story. Like I even have in my notes, like, I'm fine with this zinger, but it needs more meat on its bones. But nice. But like also really it needs more at the end here. You can't just like leave it off like that. Like it's annoying because it's so Spartan the way it's the way it's presented to me in this one, and it bugs the hell out of me. I like don't get me wrong. I liked the zinger, but there need to be more around it, like more prep work.
If you read between the lines,
I know, but like I obviously it didn't do a good enough job with that because I didn't catch it.
It's weird being on the other side of this because so many times you're yelling at me, telling me to read between the lines and enjoy it, and I'm like, no.
Oh, and don't even get me started on the media res.
Oh fuck, man! I love that shit.
Anyway, moving. Also, while I'm here, another thing about this, where's Joel in all of this?
Joel doesn't give a fuck, dude.
I apparently, but I think it would actually have been really cool if maybe it was revealed that Joel was connected to the Skeleton Man in some way. And that's why he's been so standoffish and distant toward his father. Maybe Joel's been dead this whole time and was the Skeleton Man. Sort of playing on the whole, like on one of the motifs of grief, where someone hides from a cruel reality of a lost loved one. Like maybe the mother wasn't the only one that died. Maybe Joel died as well. And he's just been like kind of seeing Joel at home, but he's never really interacting with them.
I mean, that'd be interesting if that was actually written there.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not even written in between the lines.
No, that one's not even written between the lines. It's just a speculation that I had at the end because it was like, what the hell is Joel in all this? Like Joel, honestly, this whole story could have been like without didn't even need to have Joel as a character in the story.
You're absolutely right because he didn't even interact with anyone.
Not one fucking bit. Like he
could literally just be a ghost.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like he could have like been. Yeah, he just like he's there in the background. And you think that he would have more of a role to play because he's the older son, but he's just kind of in the background, like headbanging to some music or just like shrugging and going straight to his room. But like, so like it made me think that like there was something more that could be added there about Joel, but it's not.
But that's the thing. That was his role. His role was, I'm an asshole. I am making my father's life harder. He exists to make you feel more for the father.
Yeah, and to strength kind of like I guess to have Adam and David's bond shine a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because he's having to deal with this shitty, like, angsty teen son. But he still has a glimmer of hope with Adam, because Adam's still like this 9-year-old. He's quiet and stuff like that, and hasn't been pretty quiet and off since like his mother died. But he's still innocent, like, compared to the shitty delinquent.
Until Adam becomes 17, and then he's like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, well, I mean, again, sometimes that happens, sometimes that doesn't. Like, sometimes like it's just like, yeah. But yeah, I can kind of see what you're going with, like, or you're saying, like, well, he's why he's there, but like, honestly, like, Joel otherwise is just like background setting or background dressing.
Pretty much, he's set dressing.
Yeah. Yeah, going back into the story itself, away from the ending and like all that stuff. Back to my actual notes here. Unless you had more you wanted to say about that stuff.
No. If I do, I'll get into it in my notes. But
Okay.
no, this is fine.
Okay. So yeah, I have this next thing here. Before David could finish his sentence, Adam jumped up and ran to his room with tears streaming down his face. He returned a few moments later, cradling a tattered shoebox in his hand. Removing the lid, he gave the box to David. Inside were a collection of coins and notes. Several $100 of loose change. Every single dollar that David had given Adam to buy his lunch. See, Dad? You don't have to work tonight. I've been saving your money. Is this enough so you can stay home tonight? Fuck. Give me the paranormal horror, please. This is heartbreakingly like mundane economic horror.
Fucking bro, I almost fucking cried.
Right?
Like I am not ashamed to say that. I almost cried when I read that.
Like seriously, to pull something from the game Red Markets, I'm just gonna go ahead and roll a stress and detachment check.
Yeah.
Like one after the fucking other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus, where's this? When's the shit gonna get spooky?
Yeah. Where's that supernatural safety blanket?
Exactly. Like, fuck, like, don't get me wrong. Like, horror, like this kind of like mundane economic horrors, like very effective and visceral. But like, I'm sorry, I read creepypastas to read like creepy like things that are just on the boundaries of reality. So like, where is that creepy shit? Like, and like, why is this in the WTS story series? Because like, this is not supernatural yet. But then
the fact it's here, though, you know that it is.
And we get that in the next thing I have here, which is Adam looked his father in the eyes for several moments, as if trying to find the right words to say. Finally, as if trying to find the right words to say. Finally, he stuttered, "Dad, I just want you to watch over me when I sleep." David was a bit surprised by this request. Sure, buddy. Are you sure? Why? Adam stared at his feet for a few more moments, almost too embarrassed by the reason. Almost imperceptibly, he whispered, "So the skeleton man in the ceiling won't attack me." Thank God! Something potentially paranormally spooky. That was literally my I just outburst. Like, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
Like again, it's just so like again, going up to this, like, as I was reading the story, it's like, okay, I'm like, thanks, story, you're making me want to cry. Like, I'm really feeling for this family's struggle here. Where the fuck is the paranormal? Where the hell's the actual, like, where's the fun horror? not the tragic, sad, real horror of life.
Immersive, true, actual horror.
Like, I know this is on Reddit NoSleep, and NoSleep stories are supposed to be grounded in reality, but usually they've got some kind of fucked up, like, cool, like, thing added into it to make it kind of just test the limits of like your believability. And then
it does.
Yeah, it does, and
it delivers on it.
As we have the ending, which is like, he quickly turned around. So this is when like he's like, "Don't worry, there's nothing under your bed or any of that, and there's nothing in your ceiling." And it's like, and then the skeleton man is just like, "Yes, you're right," a voice hissed. David's heart skipped a beat as he watched Adam gasp, staring at something behind his head. David could hear a scraping sound above him, like bones scuttling rapidly against wood. He quickly turned around in time to see the remains of a dark figure darting from the ceiling out the door, and a fading voice whispering, "See you again soon." And then we go into the last bit where it's like David chose to work the night shift after this. Yeah, honestly, like that whole that bit there at the end, like where like it's revealed that the king, I fucking loved that. That was a nice zinger. It was like, well, son, there's nothing here. It's like, yes. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
It's like, psych.
No, you.
Yeah, exactly.
Holding a notepad on him, basically.
That's what the skeleton man was like. No, you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked the skeleton man's reveal, but like the zinger at the end, like I didn't catch it enough, so it kind of ruined the full ending. But like that last bit of like the reveal of the skeleton man was really fun. I really enjoyed that, and thank God it was there, because otherwise this would have just been like a fucking trauma grinder.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the end of my actual thoughts. Mikey, these stands for evil.
All right. Well, this sort of ties into the 17-year-old just being there for no real reason.
Just like barely acknowledges anybody else's existence, just walks straight to his room.
Well, the quote here is, "I can't even trust him to know what a can opener looks like."
Yeah,
he's 17 years old, and you can't trust him to know what a can opener is?
Okay, to be fair, like how much of that is the dad just like venting and like exaggerating though as well?
Yeah, he's totally exaggerating to make his actual nice son feel better.
Yeah. So like I think that's
saying
more
like that guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. I'm sure he actually does realistically, but
yeah,
it's a phrase.
Yeah, it's just a turn of phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really got to read between the lines there, Mikey.
Yeah,
right, gamer?
I love reading between the lines. There's so much stuff in there.
Like I even like lounge like forward as if you're like right next to me, gamer. It's like yeah, right, buddy. Like
right.
fist bump.
Yeah.
All right, and then the ending.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy we get something supernatural. My problem with it is that the skeleton just runs away. Like it would have been a lot creepier if the dad froze, looked around, and the skeleton just went into the ceiling.
Yeah. If it just like it was actually like there the whole time watching, like I really kind of wish that like there'd been like something that would mention where like, because the way I kind of inferred it, it was watching the dad as he was watching the son the whole night, and the dad didn't notice it. Like it's one of those things where if you saw that in a movie, like the dad's just like there, like in like a chair watching his son, and you just almost imperceptibly see the skeleton's face or the skull in a shadow in the corner of the ceiling.
Yeah, just waiting for him to leave or fall asleep or something.
Yeah, because the way it is kind of presented, like it could also be taken like in that silly kind of way. I've kind of familiarized with like something like scuttles around the wall like to try and escape, and just like turns around and like looks at you like turns like full 360 degrees like to show you like to show how creepy it is, and it's like see you in your nightmares, and then just scuttles away. Yeah, that's kind of what it did. It just like
I don't mind the scuttle though, because that means it is something physical.
Yeah,
compared to something mystical with like that makes your supernatural safety blanket even stronger.
Yeah, and actually, honestly, like I know like I said, I was done with my actual thoughts. This actually also just like we were talking, like how the story says like it hits close to home. This is also kind of hitting me a little close to home on the skeleton man thing, because again, when the niece cultist was very young, was a baby, or was like a couple years old, she had a story about the stick witch that lived on the ceiling in the closet of her room.
This is fine.
We don't know what the stick witch looks like. I have a description given to me by a 3 or 4 year old, which is this like creepy arachnid with like sticks like in place of like legs and arms and stuff like that, like a spider witch basically. But like yeah, like apparently that thing like it would like apparently it would like It lived on top of her closet, like the top shelf of her closet, and it would open the closet door, and scuttle around her ceiling at night. So
Fine.
this brought a little. That was my close to home for this story with this, but yeah. Yeah, sorry.
And yeah, that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree though. Like the skeleton just been like, instead of like leaving the house, because like it's like why like it says seeking soon, and like it just like leaves the house, or like if it had been like see you really soon, and like David like looked into the hallway to see it scuttling into Joel's room, maybe. That would have been something interesting and actually tie Joel into the mix as well. Like it hangs out with, oh my god, it's Joel's monster, like monster friend from Monster and Other Childish Things. Like it's Joel's roommate during the day, and at night it hangs out with Adam.
Wow.
But Adam doesn't want it around. It hangs out literally, but it doesn't. But Adam doesn't like it. But Joel's like best buds with it, and that's why he's so angsty and like again, it just feeds off of Joel's like angst. Yeah. Fuck! I want that's got to be a character now. I gotta I gotta make that a Monster of the Childish Things friend now.
Fueled, like demon of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what in Monsters of the Childish Things. That's basically why most of the time why the monsters like are hanging out with the kids is because they get some nourishment off of the children's like energies or spirit or what have you. Like there's something they really enjoy about like being around the kid that like makes them stronger. Like it's usually like the childhood emotions and stuff like that. But
Throws it of his angst, the creature's like, okay, I'll find someone else now. With you.
Or that's like, dude. Oh god, Joel ages out, so he moves over. That's why he's been hanging out with Adam at night. He's basically prepping his he's grooming his next monster.
Don't say it like that.
I mean, the story. Like that. I mean, that's kind of what it is, but yeah.
I apologize.
No, I won't, because the story is it falls in line with the story's like creepy, like real world shit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, basically, it's prepping his next host.
Mm-hmm.
But
wow, and yeah, maybe that's why why Joel turned out to be such an asshole, because he like had the shit kicked out of him all of his life. His dad didn't realize somehow.
Oh god,
he was just getting beat up at school and is talking to him.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's
between the lines,
reading between the lines, but also expanding the lore of this family's dichotomy with the demon.
Yeah.
But yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's it for you, Mikey. Then gamer.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So my first note is, of the dozens of interviews Steve and I conducted, this is the third and final one that I thought would be of interest to r/NoSleep. So that means that he did more interviews, I suppose, but they just were mundane, I guess, and explainable after this one.
Yeah, that's what I surmised.
Yeah. Or maybe there are still creepy ones. He just doesn't think they're interesting creepy ones. Like,
yeah, because apparently
this one I met a little ghost. His name was Casper. He was really nice.
It's not very creepy, so I'm not going to add it to Red NoSleep.
No, like ghosts are real. That's creepy, I guess, but he's pretty chill.
Hi, I'm WTS. I didn't believe in ghosts until I came face to face with one. Turns out they're really chill.
I'd watch that show. Anyways, actually, we talked about that. Actually, I guess we talked about that. I should be not knocking these off.
You used to. What the hell happened?
I don't know, man. I aged out. And I technically talked about that. Yeah. We hit all the notes. So yeah, I actually don't have any further notes. Okay.
Then I suppose we'll move on to final thoughts. So yeah, I'm not going to recommend it as it is right now. I feel like there just needs to be, like, if there was some more added, like we've kind of brought up a little bit, like not some of the more outlandish stuff or like the most blatant, like kind of the bigger stuff. But like there's some things that need to be added at the end, I feel like, to really like to make it better to me. like it has some good story beats, and there's a hint of something supernatural by the end. The actions of David and the ending of the story needs to be clarified a bit, because like again it seemed like he just became like he was falling into his shitty dad motif of like he's just working the night shift after this, because like what the fuck's that mean? But then yeah, if you read between the lines, sure, it means that he's taking the night shift, but like with his kids, that needs to be explained, I think, a little bit more blatantly than like reading between the lines.
Now, okay, I don't want to like bash this over your head more, but like
I understand, yeah.
technically don't have to read between the lines at all, because if you just read the last sentence, it says that he's doing this to protect his child, and the only way he can be doing that is by him sitting there with his child every night from now on.
I'll give this to you. I'm fucking stupid. I did not catch it at all.
Basically, what happened to you is what happens to me a lot, honestly, where I read something that I thought happened, but then it doesn't happen, but it breaks the rest of the reading. Like that's happened to me early on in stories where it wrecked my entire reading.
Yeah,
and I get it. Like if you just read that first sentence of the last line,
like I know I read the other one too. That's why it made no sense to me. So I'm going to pull something from that you've done several times to me about this. Okay. Is that like if I'm not understanding it, then there's a good chance that a good portion of people that read this aren't going to get it either. So that needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
Like, or clarity maybe it does need to be clarity. Yeah, maybe it does need to be clarified. Like I get like, oh, you're being smart. Like, aha, like yeah, but for some people, like maybe that's not enough.
Not everyone is going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm on that side of the page, and I feel like it's like, what is this? What I've been is this what I've been talking down to Gamer this whole time? Is this what I've been doing to people?
Yes, actually.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I promise. I can't promise I won't do it again.
You promised that you can't promise that
no,
you
I was
won't
like,
do it again.
I was going to promise, and then I stopped. I was like, no, I can't promise that I won't like chastise you again for it.
Yeah, I mean, fair. It'll happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like a lot of the story beats in the story, and like it is like it has like this overwhelming like trauma grinder with like the family's like situation, and then we get hit with that cool like supernatural bit with the skeleton man. I just wanted more.
But yeah, your Disney princess dress on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just fitting it on now.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to get that tight corset.
That's a good sound effect.
Yeah. But yeah, so at the moment, I'm not going to recommend this story, but I could if there was a little bit more added to it. So yeah, that's my stance on it still. Mikey, D stands for evil.
Alright, well, it's a very mundane story until it isn't. So I like that we did get some supernatural at the end. I would like there to be more to parrot cultist. But I like the fact that it's there.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know like how much in the overarching story this will affect anything, because I mean we already had the goat heads or whatever from the previous story, which were sort of a bit more frightening, I suppose.
I don't know, like they were blatantly frightening. This thing's more of a subtle frightening.
Yeah.
The thing that didn't frighten you about it is the fact that it's scuttled away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me pose a question. What if it was a xenomorph on the ceiling the whole time, and then it ran away? Would you still not be scared?
Well, the thing is, it ran away.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. If it flees, we can. If it flees, we can kill it.
It's the whole situation of coming across a bear in a forest.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they're more afraid of you than you are of it, type thing. So it will run away. Like I've come across bears in the forest; they run. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm happy it's running.
Thank God! It's the 9%. It's the 9 out of 10. Yeah.
But the fact that it's running to me makes it feel like less of a threat. Like, did he literally just shoo the skeleton creature away because it left?
Well, no, it left because the skeleton creature can clear it. It has a basically it can only attack and do certain things under certain circumstances. It has a contract.
Sorry.
It can only like I saw it like it is it's like when a demon or something has a contract or whatever. Like it can only do certain things, so it can only attack and like siphon whatever the fuck it's doing off of the kid when it's by itself.
Yeah.
If anyone witnesses it, it can't do it. So it was sitting there waiting for him to leave so it can do its job. But because he was guarding it, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's an ambush predator. So like ambush predators won't attack if they won't attack, or they'll move off and wait for another opportunity if the opportunity isn't there when they want to strike. So like, yeah, it's sort of like that situation. It's like I think bobcats or like cougars and stuff like that. Like they'll eventually back off and go away, and like maybe even, but you still want to get out of that area because chances are good it's still out there basically biding its time.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to let your guard down. So yeah.
This thing is also intelligent.
Yeah, and so it's playing with its prey basically. I also, that's how I kind of saw it, like leaving. It's like, all right, I'll leave for now, but you'll slip up again. Dad of the year.
What kind of sucks though is that he made himself known.
Yeah.
If he didn't make himself known, then the father wouldn't watch over his kid, and then he'd be able to continue doing his work. So I don't understand why he made himself known.
Maybe he's just like, again, he's playing with his food. He's like, I was like, all right, I'll leave. Again, you're gonna slip up eventually, and it's like, sure, yeah, watch your son. You have to sleep sometime. Like that kind of thing.
He's just that cocky.
Yeah, exactly. He's a cocksure monster.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want the skeleton to show more supernatural abilities.
Fair.
Like,
aside from being a skeleton that's alive and clinging to a ceiling. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, also like I can actually kind of see like he couldn't show a lot of his supernatural ability now because it's morning, and a lot of times in folklore and in other materials and stuff, dawn and dusk are usually when like things reset, like supernatural stuff like has to reset. So like dawn has happened, so like he's not at his full strength anymore. Because because of the dawn of light and stuff like that, or like because like light's dawning and stuff like that. So like technically he might have been at his weakest like right then. So like he's just sort of like trying to like intimidate and bluffing basically and biding his time. I do agree. Like I think there could have been other ways like the creature could have like presented itself or like shown a little bit more like terror to like the family. But I think it makes sense that like maybe he's not attacking again because he's an ambush predator of some kind, or hell, who knows? Maybe because the father's love, like as a parent to his son, is actually a protecting, like a ward against this creature. So the creature has to wait till the father's out of the picture, or like again off at work or something like that, to deal with this.
You know what would have been cool?
Yeah,
and if like the father says like, see, there's no such things as skeletons on the ceiling, and he gets up and walks away, and then his son calls out to him, and he like looks back in the room, and the son's pointing at the ceiling, and he looks up at the ceiling, and there's like claw marks on the ceiling right above where he was.
Oh, that would be
sitting.
Yeah, or but like not claw marks, or like claw marks, but like as if something was dug in and basically was like hanging there the whole time.
Yeah, because then the creature isn't like teasing him, but he has confirmation that there's a creature there, which would make him want to actually watch over him now.
Yeah, or even like no, like again, like sometimes, like I think you brought up a couple of times in the past. It's sometimes better if the monster doesn't talk, and so like we get to see it through its actions. It's more scary. What if we get this part, like where it's like none of the "see you soon" or "yes, you're right," but like next time, gadget. No, that's more of a next time, gadget.
Oh yeah,
next
true.
Time.
Way deeper.
But in this one, like so like again, like he's like, see, like there's no skeletons in your up in your ceiling, and he leaves and it's like, Dad, wait, come back. And then like it's like what? And he like points up, and like he kind of comes back in, pokes his head, looks up at the ceiling, and he sees like some markings, but also sees like one of the ceiling tiles, because like maybe it's one of those ceilings that has like the grid of like tile, like those like removable tiles and stuff. I can't remember what those are called, but like those foam like stucco tile kind of things. And like
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
And like what if like one of those is like slightly removed, or like there's like a part of the ceiling that's like that is like partially like it's slightly out of place, and he like looks around and he just like catches just a brief moment of movement as he realized there was a skeletal finger like poking out, and it comes like it disappears into the darkness. The ceiling kind of like closes up, and he just hears that scuttling of bone on wood, like kind of just like that. Like if it's just the scuttling of bone, and then at that point you're just like, what the fuck? Like what is that? Like you get more of like that, like less is more sort of situation where it's like we're not seeing the creature fully, and we're not hearing its voice. We're just seeing it like scuttle back to its lair and waiting for its next opportunity to get at him.
Yeah, that's really good too.
Yeah. But yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
it's
So I'm still only going to partially recommend it.
Okay, that's fair. Then Gamer.
Yeah. So for me, it was like a good clean read, honestly. Like, to be honest, most of the grammar stuff you got, Cultist, I did not even see. I read right over that shit. I don't know why. I just did.
Type right over it, yeah.
Yeah, I did, but that's fine. Either way, the story read well, at least to me. It left me guessing like what was happening to Adam all along the way, because there was nothing really clear. Because like he could have been actually getting beaten up at school. He could have been doing this or that. It could have been the other son being an asshole. I don't know. Could have
been a Jeff the Killer situation where like the kid's gonna become an angsty teen killer.
Yeah, it could have been a teacher. It could have been anything, like any mundane reason why that kid was getting beat up. But yeah, it also left me questioning like David's care for his kid as well.
Yeah.
Like his ability as a parent. Like I get it though, is the thing, because he was dealt like a really bad hand, and because of his and because of his want to give his sons like a better life than what he would normally be able to do, it's like killing him basically.
Yeah, he's focusing on the financial betterment versus like the emotional betterment of his kids.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily the right choice, but
yeah,
who's to say what's right and wrong? You know, everyone has to raise their own kids differently, but yeah. By the end, I like that the father actually saw the creature. Granted, as we talked about, not seeing it would be kind of cooler. Sorry, not seeing it, but knowing for a fact it was there would be way cooler. But yeah, the story like literally pulled up my heartstrings like really hard.
Yeah, legitimately. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And that doesn't really happen. I don't recall the last time something like that's happened.
Yeah.
So I have to give the story props for that. While there are ways that it can be better, just like with any story, I still enjoyed what was here. I liked the zinger at the end. It was all good. I'll still recommend it, but there are ways to make it even more recommendable.
Okay. So I guess that will do it for this week's episode then. So we got a non-recommendation, but like willing to give it a chance. A partial recommendation, but need some work and willing to give it a chance. And a full recommendation. Need some work, but also willing to give it a chance. So that, like, I feel like all of ours are like technically conditionals.
Yeah, they're all conditional. Yeah,
But also, like, but we still all follow the spectrum based off of our personality and our perspective on the story.
pretty much because like everyone's bringing up valid points, and it's like, yeah, that would make it better.
Yeah.
You know, so like I can't argue with that. And the end, while I read it and I was fine with it, all of our other suggestions were like, yeah, that's actually a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because as you said, at least for me, when a monster starts talking, you better give me a damn good reason why he's talking, and we don't get that here.
Yeah,
But it wasn't enough to kill it for me personally.
Yeah, so apparently we're just like, it's topsy turvy day because like it's the gamer cultist and the review in yellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that'll do it for this week. So if you so if you like what you heard, yeah, so that'll do it for this week's episode. And if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted. We're all on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is kind of on here, but like not really.
Social media, man.
But regardless, it's the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end because his name is very long.
It is.
And I'm also at Review Cultist. Review Cultist is also on Blue Sky, so you can check me out there under the same name. And you can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Like it didn't even. It just didn't even like happen. It was just like it was just like there's just like silence. So
refuse to do this.
Yeah. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To all our patrons that help me support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, without these stories that you post online for people to get spooked at or sad at and creeped out at, we really wouldn't have much of a show. Yeah, all of the above. We really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, D stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.